15th. As a reminder, this is a public meeting and is being recorded, so those in the audience, if you could please mute your devices. First, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Boyce.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we begin today's meeting, I want to make note that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental Health Awareness Month was starting in 1949, 76 years ago, by Mental Health America to raise awareness for mental health and wellness. And I'd like to offer a point of privilege to my colleague, Commissioner Boyce, but before your remarks, I want to take a moment to say, as someone who has spoken publicly about my own mental health journey, being diagnosed with depression and anxiety, I appreciate your leadership in this space. Your efforts, especially during Mental Health Awareness Month, reaffirm something we all know, that mental wellness deserves consistent, compassionate attention, and that leadership on this issue starts right here in county government. Because if not us, then who? I commend you for bringing forward today's Mental Health Monday resolution and for taking a bold step with the upcoming Soul Talks Empowerment Summit. Your leadership is helping to keep mental health at the forefront. It also, by having these conversations and by talking about mental wellness, one, I get to heal out loud. I know that and I've talked about this before, a 2-time suicide attempt survivor, being in the shadows or not talking about not being okay or only perpetuates stigma, right? And it doesn't give other people the ability to say that they're not okay and to seek help. So that's why I share my journey. If I could just save one person, then I feel like I have done my job. I know what it's like to not be okay. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to feel alone or feel like nobody understands what you're going through. And so to talk about this and to put together a summit and giving people a space to be in community with others, to feel like they are surrounded by community, but more importantly, support and have the resources that they need to take advantage of their own mental well-being is absolutely commendable. And so I thank you so much for your leadership in this space, and I thank you for the summit that we're all looking forward to on Monday. So with that, Commissioner Boyce, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Crawley, and I'd be remiss if I didn't begin my remarks by thanking you as well as Commissioner O'Grady. First, for yourself, actually, let me start with Commissioner O'Grady. For Commissioner O'Grady, he doesn't know this, but he's been an inspiration to me in this journey when I think about resilience. Most people know of Commissioner Grady's challenge and struggles health-wise. Going back a few years ago, he's talked very publicly about it, so I'm not violating the HIPAA laws here. But he's been very public about it. But not only that, he's been an advocate to people around him about getting screenings, about getting medical resources that might help their life, expand their life. But linked to that is mental health. Linked to physical health is mental health. And so I want to start by thanking Commissioner O'Grady for his resilience in his entire health journey, which includes mental health. Then I'd also like to thank Commissioner Crawley. Commissioner Crawley was one of the very first people that I've seen in public office to be that I've been connected to. I know we know of the U.S. Senator that's talked about it publicly, but she was the first person that I've seen in local elected office talk very openly and publicly about her own mental health journey. And I remember the first time you talked about it up here, Commissioner Crawley, I was really moved by it because I thought, man, that's brave. It takes a lot of courage. But moreover, it said for me, to myself, that I need to begin to think about what that means for me and the voice that I can have. And it started off with a conversation about black men and the challenges that we in society deal with, not just black men, but in society deal with black men in general. Every statistics I could run through and illustrate what I mean by that. I won't do that right this second. They're easy to find. But I remember you speaking about it, and it led me to think, what could I do? And so we started to have a conversation. People like David and Aaron and DCA Bivens and others have been huddled up for the better part of a year, quite honestly. And so on this May 19th is the crescendo of the entire discussion that started with Commissioner O'Grady's resilience and Commissioner Crawley's courage and bravery, but to really convene a conversation about doing more by our residents in the area of mental health. And so we started off a conversation at City of Grace. Pastor Young was so gracious enough to host us there. It was a fabulous event. We had 800 people show up. And we're really surprised, Commissioner Crawley, at the level of engagement. I can't tell you, you talk about wanting to touch one life. You have, because it's allowed me to be empowered to do this. But I can't tell you how many dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of people have come up to me throughout this process and simply said, thank you. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for giving me some guidance and direction. And I feel like we just get started. I really feel like all we've done really is talk about it and provide resources. But I guess that's a part of the journey. And so, and you're that inspiration for that. So on May 19th, as we celebrate Mental Health Month and recognize Mental Health Monday, as we have been doing, this Monday, May 19th, we will convene at the Columbus Convention Center to really provide people to the clinical resources that they need. And it's not like you're going to go there and you get a therapist assigned and you go sit in some room and work through things. It's more of a forum so that you can see the pathway to access resources. B, you can hear like conversations of we did a guardianship panel at one time, what we call Soul Talk, and that was probably the more touching for me because I learned the most in that one about people who take care of other people. And so the idea of Monday is that there should be something for everyone. There are, I'm going to make this up, David, maybe 20 workshops, breakout rooms of some sort, something like that. Yeah. And so you can just imagine the range of topics and discussions. And I remember Commissioner Crawley said to me at one point, we were going through, she said, hey, don't you forget about veterans, don't forget about veterans. And so we've worked in a veteran component that I think you'll like. I don't know if you know yet, but we are trying to coordinate you hosting a breakout session. This just came about the other day. So this may or may not work out, but we held it up and reason why I said that is because Commissioner Crawley is very advanced in the conversation around mental health. And she is, you wouldn't know, I don't know if she does have any training, but it seems like it. When you talk to her, she's very, I would say, experienced, advanced in the conversation. And so we have an idea for a breakout group that I think we'd like to host. So that just came about. Sorry I had to do this publicly to you. You'll consider that. But let me just conclude on this by reading some of the resolution that's here today. And I just can't thank enough all of the staff, DCA Bivens, that have put so much time and effort into this. It's a week out, and we have over 1,000 people registered. So I think by the end of the week, I mean, the room holds 1,500. So I think I feel pretty confident. DCA Bivens said to me, we're almost at 1,100 right now. And I said, okay, only 400 more to go. And she just looked at me like, oh, yeah, we're working on it. Because I know it's there. We've got a seat for everyone. It's free. And there'll be a lot of resources there. One of the things I'm most proud of that we produced is a mental health and addiction services resource book. It's kind of like a Yellow Pages type of a situation. I'm really excited about that. This will be the first year. Adam H. does it regularly, but we kind of took it, revamped it, amplified it. And it's a work in progress. I don't think this is the final year. Next year it'll get even better. But I'm excited because you can take that book home. look at it in your own privacy of your home. You can pass it on to a friend. You can suggest to a friend other resources, and I think it's just going to get better. So first, this is Mental Health Monday, and we're recognizing May as Mental Health Awareness Month. Whereas mental health challenges affect nearly 1 in 5 adults in Franklin County each year, yet stigma, systemic barriers, and limited access to culturally relevant care continue to prevent many residents, particularly in communities of color, from receiving the help that they need. Whereas the Franklin County Board of Commissioners has consistently prioritized behavioral health support, from launching the Credible Minds platform, which you're going to hear more about on Monday, as a free mental health wellness resource, to supporting the Adam H. Board's crisis services, community mini grants, and diversion initiatives. Whereas data from local agencies and the National Institute of Mental Health show that over 40% of individuals with a diagnosable mental health illness do not receive the adequate treatment that they need, highlighting the need for continued investment in awareness, access, and education. Whereas the Soul Talks, Empowerment Summit, and other initiatives across the county serve as crucial platforms for destigmatizing mental health, building strong minds, and promoting culturally competent community engagement. Whereas the Franklin County Commissioners and the County Administration have regularly voiced their commitment to addressing trauma, supporting veterans and first responders, empowering our young people, and honoring recovery journeys through policy, funding, and public awareness. And finally, whereas the creation of Mental Health Mondays offers Franklin County a recurring opportunity to spotlight resources, share stories of resilience and courage, and empower individuals to prioritize their well-being, whether they're through therapy, self-care, peer support, or open dialogue. Now, therefore, upon a motion by me, Commissioner Boyce, and seconded by Commissioner Crowley, that be it resolved by the Franklin County Board of Commissioners to recognize that every Monday as Mental Health Monday in Franklin County, in order to honor the collective efforts to build a healthier, more supportive community, and to encourage all residents, every resident, every single day, to take one step each week toward improving their mental health and their physical health.
Thank you. Did you have any comments?
Apparently, I'm presenting this to myself, so.
Yeah, go ahead, DC Bivens.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Boyce. Joy Bivens, Deputy County Administrator. For the public, I want you all to know, on May 19th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., we will have about 300 youth and over 200 seniors. That 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. session is designated for an intergenerational convening. At 3 o'clock, it is open to everyone. The youth can come back, seniors, veterans. The veterans are in the morning as well, but it's throughout the entire day. From 3 to 8, the entire community is welcome. One of the sessions I do want to hit on, if I could, just really quick, there is a session being conducted by one of our own, Jahid Harvey, who is going to talk about being a father there's going to panel, I believe, of talking about parents who have children who have been diagnosed with autism. Many times, a lot of folks feel isolated in that space when they receive that diagnosis, and they don't know what to do, who to talk to, what their community should look like when they're, trying to express themselves. Coming to work can be really heavy. So that is one of the sessions that will be taking place. But there is something for everyone. So again, 9 to 1 for our intergenerational convening for our youth and our seniors, 3 to 8 for the entire community. If you are a provider in this room today, and you have a vulnerable population that is prohibited maybe because of transportation or other barriers, David, can you stand up really quick? Please see David. This is the People's Franklin County Community Health, Mental Health Convening. We want the community there, in addition to our staff who are able to come, provided they don't disrupt operations, Chris Long, and they can get approval from their supervisors. But we want the community to show up in great numbers because there's so much that they can have access to. Maurice Claret will be with us on that day. National podcasters, Wallow Gilly, you can Google them if you know who they are. I think I'm too old. But Wallow and Gilly will be there. Dinner will be served at 6, and then lunch will be served for the young folks, I believe, at noon. Thank you so much, Commissioners.
Thank you. And I would just add that, it's important that we continue to have, or that we have Mental Health Mondays and we can continue to promote mental wellness and well-being. As people may know, that when it comes to overdose and the opioid epidemic, the numbers have decreased, but the numbers have increased and continue to increase when we think about suicide deaths, right? Especially among men and especially men of color. We know that especially in our marginalized communities or even with our New American communities, that suicide continues to increase in our New American populations. We cannot have a thriving community if we have community members who feel like they're not seen, they're not heard, and that they're left behind. And so we will continue to raise awareness. I love the Mental Health Mondays. So everyone in our community feels like they have a voice and that they're included. But there is an epidemic when it comes to suicides in Franklin County, and that number continues to increase, unfortunately. And we absolutely can do something about that and turn the trajectory around. So, thank you.
This is also not simply a Franklin County issue. This is an issue that's dealt with across the state and across the country. I talk with colleagues at NACO, and this is an issue that our colleagues all across the United States are dealing with and have been dealing with for a number of years now. And it is on the rise, as we all know and we've discussed this morning. And so, thank you, Commissioner Boyce, for highlighting this issue and for bringing this to all of us here. But when we gather across the state and across the country, this is an issue that we all know and we all recognize. So, thank you.
When you were leading LUC and focusing on infant mortality, the leading cause of death in the state of Ohio for women, pregnant women and postpartum women, is mental health challenges. And so when we think about making sure babies reach their first birthday or that we have healthy families, this is the leading cause of death. So, all right. If I can get approval of the minutes for the March 20th, 2025 briefing session and the March 18th and March 25th, 2025 general session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Thank you. The minutes have been approved.
Thank you. First up, we have the probate court.
Resolution number 34925. Resolution authorizing a contract for services with Legal Aid of Southeast and Central Ohio to provide probate court with expanded resource center services for unrepresented filers to include limited scope legal service and the creation of inclusive and accessible self-directed instructions for unrepresented parties in guardianship cases in the amount of $70,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kelly Green, Chief Magistrate with the Franklin County Probate Court. I'm here this morning to present a resolution authorizing the board to enter into a contract with Legal Aid of Southeast and Central Ohio on behalf of the probate court. As part of the services, Legal Aid will create interactive and inclusive self-directed resources to assist unrepresented filers in 6 languages. They will provide limited scope legal representation to filers who need additional assistance in filling out guardianship paperwork. As you're aware, the court's guardianship caseload represents some of the most vulnerable residents in our community, and this project will increase access to justice for families who are looking to care for the residents themselves without the need for costly professional services that cannot replace the care and concern that a family member or close friend can provide. The contract will be effective upon execution and will expire on January 31st, 2026. The contract has a not-to-exceed amount of $70,000. And pending any questions, I respectfully request for approval of the resolution.
All right, if there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 349-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 34925 has been adopted.
Commissioner, if I could, briefly?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Commissioner, President Crowley, Commissioner Boyce, Commissioner O'Grady. I just wanted to give a shout out and recognition to the probate court. Judge Mackey, Magistrate Green, the court administrator, Winnell, they had a very successful birth certificate and name change clinic last Saturday. Over 150 people came. Thank you, commissioners, to opening up our facility on Saturday to make this happen. And Public Facilities Management Team, the Sheriff's Office, were great partners in making this happen. But several hundred people there going through the process. And so, again, thank you, Commissioners, and thank you to the Probate Court.
And we are very grateful for the leadership of this board in assisting and opening the building and all of the services that were provided. We were able to do a lot of good for the community this weekend, and we really appreciate your cooperation and partnership in that.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the auditor.
Resolution number 35025, resolution authorizing the acceptance of an Ohio Environmental Protection Agency 2025 Community and Litter Grant in the amount of $10,000.
Good morning. PR Casey, General Counsel, Deputy Chief of Staff for Auditor Stinziano. It's nice to be up here today to actually ask to accept money instead of spend it. This resolution authorizes the Board of Commissioners to accept a 2025 Community and Litter Grant from the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency in the amount of $10,000 for the purpose of partnering with the Solid Waste Authority of Central Ohio, or SWACO, and to cover the cost associated with material collection and recycling services. By way of background, the Auditor's Office has been hosting a Shred Hunger event since 2021. Through these drive-through events, the office partners with SWACO, local civic organizations, area nonprofits, and paper document and electronic material recycling vendors to give constituents the opportunity to recycle their unwanted documents and electronics in a safe, secure, and environmentally friendly way at no cost to the constituent. Events have been held all over the county, in Hilliard, Linden, the South Side, Westerville, Grove City, Northwest, Columbus, Madison Township, and the West Side. And our first event for this year was held this past Saturday at the Scioto Southwind Community Center, where more than 200 cars came through and approximately 25,000 pounds of paper was shredded. Donations from Saturday's event will benefit the Reeb Avenue Center, and the next event will be in November of 2025, and that will benefit Star House. Without the grant funds provided by the Ohio EPA, the Auditor's Office would have to place significant limitations on the number of participants and what can be collected. The cost to recycle, especially electronic items, can be a significant burden on community members. I'm willing to take any questions, but I respectfully ask for acceptance of the grant.
Outstanding. If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 350-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 35025 has been adopted.
Thank you. Next, we have the engineer. We have a public hearing for Resolution 35125. Can the clerk please read the public hearing?
PS&E Crop Road Drainage Outlet, Part 1.
I would like to open the public hearing for this resolution. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this public hearing? Seeing none, I would like to close the public hearing and have the clerk read the resolution into the record.
Resolution number 35125, plans approved for the Crop Road Drainage Outlet Improvement, Part 1, Pleasant Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Good morning, Commissioners and Administration.
Good morning.
Commissioners, our first resolution authorized plan approval for the Crop Road Drainage Outlet Improvement, Part 1, located in southwest Franklin County in Pleasant Township. The project is funded by OPWC dollars and seeks to improve drainage in the vicinity of Rolling Hills subdivision. Construction is anticipated to begin late summer 2025. If any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 351-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 35125 has been adopted. Resolution number 35225, resolution adopting the Franklin County Engineers Annual Review and amendment to the 10-year capital improvement program for roads and bridges.
Commissioners, our next resolution is an annual resolution which seeks to amend the Franklin County Engineers 10-year capital improvement program for roads and bridges for 2025. The Franklin County Engineer has evaluated the roads and bridges and updated our 10-year capital improvement program based on the urgent needs and necessary for these projects. There are currently 86 projects on this plan, and 12 roads and bridges were completed and removed from our plan in the past year. Pending questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 352-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 35225 has been adopted. Resolution number 35325, resolution authorizing the second modification and extension to the 2023 through 2025 guardrail repair and upgrade program with MP Dory Company in the amount of $415,850.
On December 6, 2022, Board approved a contract with MP Dory Company for a guardrail repair and upgrade program. The contract allows for a maximum of 2 one-year extensions. This is the second and final renewal of the contract, which covers a one-year period starting May 15, 2025, in the amount of $415,850. Pending questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 353-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 35325 has been adopted. Resolution number 35425, resolution authorizing the Franklin County Engineer to enter into a second contract modification with DLZ Ohio Incorporated for Part 2 Detailed Engineering Design Services for the Cook Road from Carl Road to Cleveland Avenue Improvement Project in the amount of $40,963 for a revised total of $523,279.82.
As a result of the need for additional detailed engineering services in our Cook Road project, including changes to the stormwater design, it is necessary to modify the original agreement to provide for said services in the amount not to exceed $40,963. Pending questions, I would ask for the board's approval.
Oh, I'm sorry. If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 35425.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Abstain?
Resolution number 35425 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention. Resolution number 35525, resolution authorizing the Board of County Commissioners to approve the agreement with AFSCME Ohio Council 8.
Commissioners, our next resolution seeks approval of the agreement between ASHME Ohio Council 8 Labor Union and the Franklin County Engineer. A portion of our staff are members of the local 954 ASHME Labor Union. The existing collective bargain unit agreement expired on March 31st, 2025. We have engaged in negotiations and reached an agreement. The agreement began on April 1st, 2025, and will expire March 31st, 2028. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 355-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 35525 has been adopted. Resolution number 35625, resolution requesting the Ohio Department of Transportation to reduce the speed limit on Walker Road, County Road number 27, Brown Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Our next resolution seeks authorization to request the Ohio Department of Transportation to investigate the speed limit on Walker Road, beginning at Alden and Darby Creek Road and continuing more than 16,000 feet northerly to Davis Road. The county engineer received a request to study the speed limit on this road, and ODOT will review this study to determine the safe speed. The engineer's office has determined that the speed limit reduction from 55 to 50 miles per hour would be appropriate. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 356-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 35625 has been adopted. Resolution number 35725, resolution authorizing the disposition of personal property, including motor vehicles and equipment, which are no longer needed for public use, are obsolete, or are unfit for the purpose for which it was acquired, and authorizing the Franklin County Engineer to dispose of said items by transferring title by internet auction.
Commissioners, our final resolution seeks authorization to declare equipment obsolete and authorizes the sale or proper disposal of the identified equipment. The Franklin County Engineer will observe the requirements of the Ohio Revised Code and the Franklin County Board of Commissioners Resolution 0276-24, dated April 2nd, 2024. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 357-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 35725 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great one. Next up, we have the Treasurer's Office.
Resolution number 35825, resolution authorizing a contract with Mapsys Incorporated to provide requested support and maintenance to the Franklin County Treasurer application in the amount of $120,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dustin Cohorst, and I'm the IT Director for the Franklin County Treasurer's Office. The Franklin County Treasurer's Office is requesting the approval of a contract with Mapsys, Inc. to provide requested support and maintenance to the Franklin County Treasurer's application fax in the amount not to exceed $120,000 for the duration of 6 months. The Franklin County Treasurer's Office manages the main operations of the agency within fax and ensures advancing technology is properly planned for, managed, and utilized for the benefit of the county by continuing to support the fax application. Again, the total cost of the contract shall not exceed $120,000. Barring any questions, I respectfully request your approval.
All right, if there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 358-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 35825 has been adopted.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
Resolution number 35925, resolution authorizing a contract agreement with New American Heritage Sports League to support the annual Heritage and Sports Event 2025 in the amount of $61,030.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration.
Good morning.
D'Amica Withers, Chief Economic Equity and Inclusion Officer in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. The New American Heritage Sports League is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to create and inspire a unified, inclusive community where youth grow into compassionate leaders through sports, cultural exchange, and community engagement. The 2025 New American Heritage and Sports event is scheduled to take place over Memorial Day weekend, May 22nd through the 26th, which will serve as a platform for youth development, cultural celebration, and community violence prevention. Central to this initiative is the goal of preventing gun violence and drug abuse by offering culturally relevant and community-based alternatives for youth engagement. Through sports and the arts, the New American Heritage Sports League provides young people with opportunities to build leadership, responsibility, and connection, which are key factors in reducing community violence. This will support health and wellness soccer tournament, community resources, and a convening of cultural recognition. Participation of performers and youth teams from across the region, which will include soccer tournaments featuring 16 youth teams, 8 junior teams, and 8 senior teams. This agreement supports the belief in community-led efforts to interrupt cycles of poverty and violence. The partnership with the New American Heritage Sports League reflects a shared vision of a county where every child, regardless of background, has access to safe spaces, meaningful mentorship, and opportunities to succeed. This resolution aligns with Franklin County's broader strategic priorities and the Rise Together Poverty Blueprint, particularly goal number 2, 3, and 5. Representative Muhammad will also is joining us today with Abdullah Yusuf, the New American Heritage Sports League President and Director, to offer comments and answer any questions that you may have.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Sherwa Hosh. I'm the Outreach Coordinator for the New American Heritage Sports League. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you today. It is my privilege to stand before you today on behalf of the New American Heritage Sports League, a growing initiative that is making a meaningful impact here in Franklin County, especially within the Somali American community. The New American Heritage was founded on a simply but powerful belief that sports can build bridges, develop leaders, and bring people together across cultures and generations. Over the past 2 years, the New American Heritage Sports and Culture has done just that, organizing youth leagues, mentoring programs, and cultural events that gives the Somali youth something to be proud of and a team to belong to. In a time where identity and connections are more important than ever, the New Americans has become more than just a place where to play soccer and organize. It has become the center of mentorship, community pride, and cultural engagement. It is working closely with the local schools, families, and local volunteers to create safe, structured, and empowering spaces for our youth, and is making a real difference. We are seeing our kids grow not just as athletes, but as a confident, respectful young leaders with a strong sense of who they are. Looking ahead, the New American is hosting a Ohio Somali Week held annually during the Memorial Weekend. This is a celebration that brings together thousands of Americans across Ohio, beyond, especially in Franklin County. It is time to honor heritage and reflect shared experiences, recognize the many contributions that the Somali Americans are making here in Franklin County and broader American story. So this year, the New American Heritage and Culture will be hosting the tournament, youth activities, and cultural events during the Memorial Weekend from May 22nd through 26th. As a part of the Ohio Somali Week. We're expecting a record participants and more importantly, a moment that will inspire, connect, and uplift our community. Commissioners, thank you not only for your time today, but all you do to support youth diversity and community development. Your leadership makes Franklin County a place we can all invest in our future. Means investing in our young people today. And with your support, we will continue to build something stronger, something proud, and something truly American here in Franklin County. And I genuinely ask for you guys, especially commissioners, to adopt this resolution today. Thank you. And I would like Rep. Smile to say a few words as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. State Representative Ishmael Mohammed, thank you to President Crawley, Commissioners Boyce and O'Grady for your leadership. Thanks to the Office of Diversity and Inclusion for their support as well. I want to give a special recognition to Kevin Pingrace, who has been absolutely phenomenal throughout the entire process. Thank you very much. I'm here to support the New American Sports Heritage League for their amazing work, for what they do on a regular basis. President Crawley, thank you. You mentioned just briefly that, the mental health issue within the New American population. And this organization has been doing phenomenal work, not only in sports, but also with youth programming, mentorship, with gang violence awareness. They have been doing phenomenal work. And I thank you to the entire board for your leadership. And I do think that this will just be really the start of a long-term relationship as well. And I look forward to working with you as well. So thank you again so very much.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing this resolution forward. I had not heard of the New American Heritage Sports League before, and so it's good to know that it's not just a weekend list of activities, but you all do programming year-round for youth, and so would love to learn more about the organization and look forward to, if there's an opportunity to come out in the 22nd through the 26th, would love to do that, but want to be more familiar with the organization and what you all are doing, especially around mentorship and gun violence prevention.
Absolutely. And if I may, President Crawley, we're actually going to be hosting, and sure, we'll talk more about it as well. We're very honored to be hosting one of the games at the Columbus Crew Stadium, the historic stadium, which is a great opportunity for our community to be there. We're likely going to have between 500 to 1,000 people showing up. And so it's really an opportunity for people to get not only to see soccer being played, but also at the same time talk about some of the mental health programs that the organization will be offering as well. If you want to add anything else?
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Erica O'Grady and Commissioner Kevin. We would love to also to have you, we will have cultural events on Saturday evening where we'll be showcasing the Somali cultural heritage and the richness in our culture. So we would love to have you on that as well as the Columbus Crew that, as Ismail mentioned. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Madam President, thank you so much, Madam President. Let me thank you both for being here. Let me start with the DEI office. I'm really grateful for our leadership within the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and that of Chief Withers, who is always out in the community stirring up the pot to ensure that we are focused on every resident every day. And I just love seeing you out and about in different places, Director, and seeing us connect in new places and new spaces. And, this board in particular has a history of recognizing athletes. And it's not so much about the athletic achievement. Of course, that I see Linda Logan here. That's always a component of our recognition, is the achievement that folks achieve. But I'd be remiss if I didn't just kind of bring up some of the things that we know sports teaches our young people in their path to being good residents for Franklin County. It teaches them teamwork. It teaches them perseverance. It teaches them about achievement and, more importantly, what to do with it. It teaches them hard work. It teaches them cultural competency elements to learn a new sport or to learn a new culture or to learn how to work with people who come from different backgrounds. But I think it was, I can't remember who said it, one of you said it, but you said it's building bridges and developing leaders. And that's when we invest in sport activity, whether it's recognizing athletes for their achievement or investing in the community so that everyone has an opportunity to experience athletic events. What we understand is it's an investment in people. And I know I've talked about this on more than one occasion when I said, when I said that this is not the Franklin County that I grew up in. This is a community that is rich in diversity, rich in culture, and continuing to evolve, grow, and develop. And this is very much a part of that, this type of investment. And so I want to just encourage you. I'll do my best to come out and make it out. I'm not a very good soccer player, but if you coach me out there, perhaps I'll get out there and do some things. Actually, I won't, so let me just take that back. I'm not even going to do that. Get a little too old for that stuff. But so thank you for your leadership. And I just want to recognize the NI office. I feel like everywhere I go, I run into them or the smoke screen from them leaving something. And I just really appreciate you being out there in the community. I'll have to send her out in one of the mobile units one day. Just let her get a driver and let her do her thing. Yeah, not sure about that, but again, I think the presence. We're working on a little project together. We just started this past weekend. I'm excited about it, but it's all about the cultural competency and enrichment of that for Central Ohio, because Commissioner O'Grady, and not to leave Commissioner Crawley out because she's probably our resident expert in cultural competency, but this just isn't the same kind of Franklin County we grew up in. It's very different and diverse and culturally aware.
Madam President, if I might, I was just in a meeting yesterday with DCA Bivens with some folks on another topic, and was talking about the fact that Commissioner Boyce and I talk about all the time, that this is absolutely not the Franklin County that we grew up in. We grew up in a Franklin County that was black and white and Asian because of the influence of Ohio State and Honda. And now we are a Franklin County that is as diverse as any community in the country, where we speak, well over 100 languages. But this particular investment, we invest in sports. We talk about it all the time with Linda Logan. We invest in sports because it's important to invest in sports because of what that investment is, the return on that investment. But we also invest in youth. And this, youth programming because of what it means and how important it is to invest in kids. And this program, it embodies all of that. We're investing in our kids. We're investing in sports and what sports teaches our kids. But we're also investing in new Americans. And we've been investing in, and I just talked about this yesterday with DCA Bivens and the group that we were with yesterday. Investing in new Americans. I mean, first of all, this country was founded on new Americans, new Americans across the board. But this community is built on new Americans. And we have new Americans from all across the globe. And so it's important for Franklin County. And if our legislature down the street doesn't understand, the fact that, I'm sorry, not present company excluded, if our legislature down the street doesn't understand how important it is for this county in particular to invest in new Americans, it's because they come from counties where they don't have the number and variety of new Americans that we have. And we believe, our friends at City Hall believe, and we believe here, that we have to invest in our new Americans because they are our community. And, it is just, it's important for us to do that. And we can't invest in some new Americans and not all new Americans. And, I know just yesterday, President Trump decided that, it was okay to accept South African white new Americans, where he rejects new Americans from other countries of other colors. But, we have to accept all new Americans. And so, and we've been working with new Americans in this county for years, since I've been here, certainly in wonderful fashion since Commissioner Boyce has been here, and Commissioner Crowley's been here. And so, this is a fantastic program, and it really embodies all of the types of things that we've been doing for years here in Franklin County. And so this is a great investment, and I appreciate you guys being here this morning.
Yes. Thank you all so much. I'm very familiar with your organization, but we're having this little thing called a mental health summit on May 19th. Can we connect? Connect our peanut butter with your jelly so we can figure out how we can be intentional in making sure your young folks and some of the community are there. Thank you.
Yes,
I like that reference. I can make my peanut butter with your jelly. All right. Go.
All right, if there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 359-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 359-25 has been adopted.
Thank you. Have a great one. Next, we have economic development and planning.
Resolution number 360-25, resolution authorizing an economic development agreement with the Greater Columbus Sports Commission to encourage economic development and tourism through the attraction, retention, and promotion of sporting events on behalf of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners in the amount of $200,000.
Good morning, Commissioners, County Administration. Emmanuel Torres, Assistant Director of Economic Development and, excuse me, I've been a little under the weather, my forgiveness. Assistant Director of Economic Development Planning. This resolution authorizes the 2025 annual partner agreement with the Greater Columbus Sports Commission, which is a part of the Greater Columbus Convention and Visitors Bureau. Under the terms of this agreement, the Sports Commission will expand and continue sales activities, marketing, and bidding to bring sporting and competitive events to Franklin County, thereby increasing tourism activities that generate additional bed and sales tax while employing Franklin County residents. During last week's general session, we heard some highlights from CEO and President Linda Logan, but she's here again with us today to share some additional highlights related to this agreement. And pending any questions after her remarks, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
Good morning, commissioners, administrators, prosecutor. It's nice to see everyone. Always appreciate the good work, and just even today listening to the big event on the 19th, which is going to be so special. Just proud to be a resident and that you think of me every day. So I just wanted to, again, highlight a couple of things. Just even last night, we had the NCAA Men's Volleyball Championships here in Columbus. We had 4 West Coast teams in the Final Four: Hawaii, Pepperdine, UCLA, and Long Beach State. We had the best player in the world, a freshman for Long Beach State, that brought home the trophy last night. So exciting times to sell out crowds, and Franklin County shows up, Central Ohio shows up, our volleyball fans. We probably had maybe 500 fans that traveled from Hawaii for the event. So again, just to show the case, not only the economic development, but just that quality of life piece of our local residents getting to see some of the best players in the world right here in our own backyard. So we appreciate being able to attract these events, and that's because of the dollars that you provide for us, that we're able to do the extra things that make these groups want to come back. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 360-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 36025 has been adopted. Resolution number 36125, resolution authorizing the Franklin County Administrator to execute on behalf of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners the attached subordination agreement instrument for Amy L. Uyoya and Jose A. Uyoya at 1388 Little Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, 43223.
Commissioners, these borrowers received a housing assistance loan on November 7, 2024, in the amount of $23,332.65. A mortgage securing the loan was filed with record on February 19, 2025. If approved, the county administrator, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, would execute the subordination agreement prepared by the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office. And pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 361-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 36125 has been adopted. Resolution number 36225, resolution authorizing the county administrator to execute on behalf of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners to execute the attached discharge of mortgage instrument for Ferry Mean and Vanna San at 948 Hart Road, Township of Franklin, Franklin County, Ohio, 43223.
Commissioners, these citizens received a housing assistance loan on October 24, 2019, in the amount of $12,802.90. From this board, staff can confirm that the remaining balance due under the terms of this grant have been paid off as of April 12, 2025. If approved, the Franklin County Administrator, on behalf of this board, would execute the discharge of the mortgage prepared by the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office. Pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 362-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 36225 has been adopted.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks. Next, we have the Office of Job and Family Services.
Resolution number 34125, resolution approving a general revenue and TANF subaward agreement with the Columbus Urban League for the Franklin County Ready to Earn Youth Employment Program in the amount of $678,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bart Logan, Assistant Director of Job and Family Services. When you declared gun violence a public health crisis, you also lifted up the need for investments in community programming, especially for youth during out-of-time hours, to help provide our young residents with positive alternatives to social isolation and other challenges impacting mental health and wellness. So we're so grateful for your continued support and investment in our Ready to Earn summer youth employment programming. This resolution will support another one of our Ready to Earn partners of the Columbus Urban League, who will be offering programming this summer. The Urban League's Work Readiness Training University will offer youth ages 14 to 19 with the opportunity to participate in 6 weeks of work-based learning programs or internships, placements where they can earn wages up to $15 an hour. Under the project, those areas include programs designed to explore careers in technology, engineering, project management, healthcare, and more. Under the agreement, the Urban League will serve no fewer than 170 young people, and that is on top of the 300+ that you approved with last week's resolutions. This also supports the Rise Together Blueprint Goal number 11. And while she is here, President Hightower, she's intending to speak on our next resolution, but she is here to answer any questions you may have on this. But barring any, we will respectfully ask for your approval.
Well, if there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 34125.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Abstain.
Resolution number 34125 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention. Resolution number 36325, resolution approving a subaward agreement with the Columbus Urban League for the Franklin County Trades Academy Workforce Training Program in the amount of $1,200,000.
Commissioners, this resolution would support the newest iteration in our line of trades career training programs. In partnership with the Urban League, we are excited to be launching the Franklin County Trades Academy, which is a training program designed to prepare our residents for high-demand careers in the skilled trades. The Franklin County Trades Academy will integrate technical training, professional development, and supportive services to help equip those participants with the skills and confidence they need to begin their careers and have long-term success in the trades. The program participants will receive 7 weeks of technical skills and trade-specific training led by industry professionals and instructors at Columbus State. In addition to that training, they'll also receive other supportive services, career coaching, barrier removal services, to ensure that they're able to successfully complete the program. And graduates will be placed in apprenticeships with jobs where they can earn an average and starting salaries around $22 an hour. Through this agreement, the Urban League will look to enroll at least 85 residents in the academy with a goal of 80% graduating and being placed in trade-specific employment. We'll also be working with the Urban League and their partners to continue to check in on graduates as they begin their careers in the trades. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we do have President of the Columbus Urban League, Stephanie Hightower, here joining us to speak a little bit more about this new partnership.
Use my glasses today, and I'm going to stick with my script. Commission President Crawley, Commissioners Boyce, and Commissioner O'Grady, I want to thank you today to take this opportunity to thank you and to summarize a tremendous partnership with you, the Franklin County Trades Academy, powered by your Columbus Urban League. I'm pleased to also recognize David Kofer, who is here today representing Columbus State Community College, our primary training partner in this work. The Franklin County Trades Academy pairs thoughtful innovation with real-world experiences. It fixes leaks in the talent pipeline because the 85 people who will come to us in year one will be equipped with all the tools they need to pursue high-wage construction opportunities, and it is a smart part of an overall economic development strategy. The Academy builds upon Columbus State's more than 40 years' experience in construction industry education. Their team will prepare people for pre-apprenticeship and fast-track options to become journeymen, as well as a myriad of other certifications, credentials, and even associate and bachelor's degrees. It also depends upon our experienced coaches who will be instrumental in ensuring students navigate all the issues they face in making a major life transition, whether securing childcare, setting up transportation to come to class, and keeping bills paid while they're learning. We will ensure that all participants access the resources and knowledge to persevere. Columbus State and your Columbus Urban League, we know how to collaborate and develop human potential. We have a long history of working together, helping people hone in their skills in the fields like logistics, hospitality, manufacturing, and healthcare. In other words, we know what it takes to be an on-ramp to advance careers, increase earning power, and move families to greater success. Our plan reflects our shared commitment to access and opportunity for all. We will dig deep and reach out throughout the county to find people with the passion and commitment to change their lives and fast track to a brighter future. Our plan recognizes that our impact is critical to everyone in Franklin County. We will feel a significant workforce deficit. There was a 2023 survey found that 9 out of 10 construction industry employers, big and small, specialized or general, they said they had a hard time filling jobs. We will accelerate economic growth, and we know unfilled trades jobs delay deadlines and drive up cost for some of our region's most important construction projects. And we will add to our economy and tax base. Graduates from the Academy will increase our region's wage earnings, pay more taxes, and reduce the need for public assistance. The Franklin County Trades Academy affords us one more way to achieve the possibilities identified by our Regionomics study completed last year. That report told us that if we bring more people into the economy and increase their wage earning power, we can add $42 billion to our regional GDP over the next decade. To our commissioners, Administrator Wilson, DCA Bivens, and Ms. Vivian Turner, thank you for your leadership, your partnership, and hopefully your continued sponsorship. We know that the Franklin County Trades Academy represents a great investment in our people and our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, President Hightower. If you can just talk to me a little bit about the relationship with the trades and ensuring that our participants that will be in the academy will actually go into an apprenticeship program and be put on a journeyman track. I mean, we have seen in the past where we have had a pre-apprenticeship program, which is all well and good, and getting people soft skills and, getting them on a track. But there has been a breakdown in the relationship getting them into a full apprenticeship program and on a journeyman track. So can you talk to us about your plans to make sure that this can happen and your relationship with the trades?
Absolutely. So one of the great parts of this partnership with Columbus State is that they have those relationships with the trades as well. One of the things we're doing differently this time around with this iteration is we are going to the trades and look at those specific industry areas, apprenticeship areas where they need jobs or where they need to fill in positions. What we're not doing is just doing a blanket come into our apprenticeship program and then hope that you then get a job somewhere. We're going to be very specific with the trades to say, what do you need? And then we're going to go after those people and say, here's the track that you're going to be in. And this way, they are guaranteed not only a job, but we can begin to fast track them to the journeyman program as opposed to having to wait. That was one of the challenges the last time around. People would finish the apprenticeship program, but there were no jobs available for them to go into, which then there was that delay with them getting into the trades or getting into one of the, the trades programs so that they could earn. And then that's how people ended up dropping off. So this time we're going to be very specific. We laid this out. Ms. Vivian made sure we laid out every step in detail to how we were going to get it done. And so that's what I'm really excited about too, is that we're going to be very intentional working with Columbus State to make sure that we have the relationships, that we put people in those industry areas where they will have a job and can be fast-tracked to a journeyman program.
Thank you for that. And then I know for whatever reason, we can't really talk about, we can. I would say the federal government says we can't really talk about women or women-specific things, but we know that when it comes to construction trades, that historically there has not been that many women in the trades, even when barrier removal services or access to childcare is provided. But we know that they want the opportunity to go into the trades. So can you talk about veterans or trying to work specifically with veterans and women to get more representation into the construction trades?
All of those folks, groups that you just mentioned, veterans and women, and New Americans, they are all a part of the plan to go out and do our recruitment. So we're not just going to go to one population in Franklin County or one city in city in Franklin County. We are going to do recruitment above and beyond. And so we will have ads that we will be running that will be, and social media tools that will speak specifically to, we want veterans, women, anyone who's interested in creating an opportunity for an increase or a high-wage job in the construction industry.
Thank you. I know DCA Long.
Thank you, President Crowley, Commissioner Boyce, Commissioner O'Grady, Chris Long, Deputy County Administrator. Before you leave today, if we could make connections with our Public Facilities Management Director, we would love to partner on the front end. We have a tremendous number of trade positions within Franklin County. And if we are able to have that connection early on with our HR Director as well, there may be opportunities right here, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, others, to be part of Team Franklin County with a path to the middle class. And so we'd love to partner on the front end with you on that as well.
Absolutely. David's here, so he can take that back to, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Well, if there are no further comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 36325.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Abstain.
Resolution number 36325 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Office of Justice Policy and Programs.
Resolution number 36425. Resolution authorizing a subgrant award with Urban Family Development Center for support of a community fatherhood and family celebration event under the FY 2025 Targeted Community Alternatives to Prison Grant Program in the amount of $5,000.
Good morning, Commissioners, County Administration. Melissa Pearson, Chief Operating Officer with the Franklin County Office of Justice Policy and Programs. The Urban Family Development Center is the host of an annual community event on June 7th this year, 2025, named Dads Matter Day, and is intended to support meaningful father and child connections through hands-on outdoor activities and access to vital community resources. It is anticipated 1,500 residents and 50 community partner agencies will be in attendance during this event. This mini grant in the amount of $5,000 will offset transportation and rental costs and is supported through a targeted community alternative grant. This resolution supports Goal 9 of the Rise Together Blueprint, and pending any questions, we would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 364-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 36425 has been adopted. Resolution number 36525. Resolution authorizing the Franklin County Administrator to approve a subgrant award and contract for services with Franklin County Sheriff's Office for treatment linkage for individuals released from the Franklin County Correction Centers related to the FY 2024 Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Grant in the amount of $672,353.22.
Commissioners, our office did apply for and was successfully awarded an FY 2024 COSUP grant to continue support of overdose prevention, harm reduction, recovery, and treatment services with a focus on working with individuals at risk, individuals in and being released from the Franklin County Correctional Center. This subgrant award to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $672,353.22 supports a new and proactive approach, outreach and engagement by the Sheriff's Office, which will match deputies from the HOPE Task Force with individuals receiving medication-assisted treatment while incarcerated and support their efforts post-release. Additionally, the Sheriff's Office will be assigned a peer support specialist from our office to complement outreach and case management efforts. The performance period for this award is through June 30th, 2027, and this award also supports Goal 9 of the Rise Together Blueprint. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval of this subgrant award.
If there are no
I do
comments.
have a question, I'm sorry.
Pardon me, sorry.
No, you're good. And maybe maybe we'll have to talk about it offline, a better question for the Sheriff's Office when we think about linkage and support. Will the Office of Justice Policy and Programs with your peer support specialist be partnered with the Sheriff's Office or specifically assigned to one of our residents that is incarcerated and doing a warm handoff or linkage as they transition back into the community? Can you just talk more about how we're making sure linkage happens?
And I'm glad you asked that question, Commissioner. What we know in our office is this: if you don't establish that relationship pre-release, it's really hard to gain trust. It's hard to gain that sense that this person is there to support me. So what we do is we bring the deputies from the HOPE Task Force into group every Friday, because we have a group that actually operates Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays inside the jail for people that are at risk for an overdose upon release. So we're bringing these deputies in pre-release so they can start to form those relationships and build some of that trust that has to be there for this program to be successful. So they're matched pre-release, and then the peer support specialist is also attending that same group. When the individuals get released, they know who they can call. They know they can call at all hours of the day. I will say that this is modeled off a program we started with our Female Pathways program. And an anecdotal story is we had one of our clients that was out in the community and was at risk for a relapse. They wanted to use again. They called the officer, and at that time it was with Columbus Police Department. They called that officer instead of their case manager. Not because they didn't trust the case manager, but because they had that level of relationship with that officer. I've got to commend the Sheriff's Office because this is a new way of policing for our Sheriff's Office. This is recognizing arresting people who have an addiction. It doesn't work. it's not solving the problem. And trying to address this in a new, progressive way, I commend them for this, and it's working. We already have those sheriff's deputies inside the group, and they're already building that trust that needs to be there prior to release.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam President, yeah, I'm excited about this work too because I've seen it firsthand. I recently had an incident where a young lady in my life away from the county, a young lady was in an episode in a scenario situation, and there some of the other business owners around were kind of thinking about calling the police. It was clearly in a crisis. But I called DCA Bivens and I called Erica Clark Jones, and they sent these sort of response folks out to come and help stabilize the situation instead of arresting or incarcerating this young lady. And one, just seeing them in action and work is a pretty impressive and amazing thing. But two, you know, it seems like most people that end up in our correctional facility are in some form of crisis. And I think not all of it is best addressed through incarceration. Sometimes it's best addressed in incarceration because it protects either that person from themselves or someone else from that person. But sometimes the crisis is just a number of things, and those resources can help stabilize the scenario. But I was so impressed by the folks who came out and stabilized the scenario. And now what we've done is incorporate it amongst the other businesses in that area as sort of, okay, if we get this, here's a number to call, as opposed to 911 and the police. And I think that's much more impactful to the community. And so I'm really looking forward to this work. I think this is a great investment, and I've seen it up close and personal. It makes a difference.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh, okay. If there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 365-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 365-25 has been adopted. Resolution number 366-25, resolution authorizing the execution of the pre-award conditions and acceptance of the Franklin County FY 2024 Services Training Officers Prosecutors Violence Against Women Act Administrative Grant Award, and granting authority to the county administrator to sign all acceptance documents and waivers related to the grant program in the amount of $25,193.41.
Commissioners, as you know, our office serves as the administrative and fiduciary agent for the Violence Against Women Act Block Grant awarded to Franklin County. Toward that effort, we were awarded an administrative award in the amount of $18,895.06, which requires a 25% match of $6,298.35, and helps to offset the cost of our assigned grant specialist for the calendar year 2025. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval to accept the administrative award and authorize general funds to meet the match requirement.
All right, if there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 366-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 366-25 has been adopted. Resolution number 367-25, resolution authorizing the extension of the pre-award conditions and acceptance of the Franklin County FY 2024 Services Training Officers Prosecutors Violence Against Women Act Block Grant Award, and granting authority to the county administrator to sign all acceptance documents and waivers related to the grant program in the amount of $732,150.20.
As was mentioned, Commissioners, the VAWA Block Grant is used to enhance prosecution, law enforcement, court services, and victim services to support survivors of domestic violence, dating violence, stalking, and sexual assault. During calendar year 2024, VAWA funding directly supported 6,996 survivors and offered training to 553 professionals and volunteers. For fiscal year 2024, Franklin County was awarded $732,150.20, which does represent an approximate 5% decrease over the FY 2023 award. Upon acceptance of this formula grant, sub-grant awards will be brought before the Board of Commissioners for approval. Pending any questions, we would ask for your approval to accept the FY 2024 VAWA Block Grant.
Outstanding. Of course, if there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 367-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 36725 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Office of Public Facilities and Management.
Resolution number 34425. Resolution authorizing a guaranteed maximum price amendment number 3 to the contract with Elford Incorporated to provide construction manager at-risk services, including construction services for the Franklin County Critical Master Plan Implementation Project Bundle 1 in the amount not to exceed $1,560,444 for a revised total of $11,253,882.
Good morning, Commissioners. Darla Reardon, Director of Public Facilities Management. On January 7th, 2025, Resolution Number 7-25 authorized a contract with Elford, Inc. to provide construction manager at risk services for the Franklin County Critical Master Plan Implementation Project Bundle Number 1. This resolution authorizes guaranteed maximum price GMP Amendment Number 3 that is associated with the relocation of the Franklin County Sheriff's Jail records from the closed downtown jail to the second floor of the Michael J. Dorian Building. GMP Amendment Number 3 includes the following scopes of work for the new jail record space: final cleaning, general trades, drywall and acoustical, resilient flooring and carpet, painting, fire suppression, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical and technology. This amendment also includes allowances for fireproof patching and furniture. There is an established 15% SEBE aspirational goal on Project Bundle Number 1. This GMP Amendment Number 3 includes SEBE participation of 21.69%. Pending any questions, PFM requests your approval of Guaranteed Maximum Price Amendment Number 3 with Elford, Inc. Thank you.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 34425.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Abstain.
Resolution number 34425 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention. Resolution number 34525. Resolution authorizing a guaranteed maximum price amendment number 7 to modify the original contract with Elford Incorporated to provide construction manager at-risk services, including construction services associated with the construction of the Franklin County Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court in the amount not to exceed $1,861,515 for a revised total of $39,224,761.53.
In 2020, Elford, Inc., a local firm, was awarded a contract agreement to provide construction manager at risk services associated with the renovation of the Franklin County Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court. This resolution authorizes guaranteed maximum price GMP Amendment Number 7 that is associated with the Franklin County Sheriff's Property Room to be located on the 6th floor of this Michael J. Dorian Building. GMP Number 7 includes the following scopes of work for the new property room: final cleaning, demolition, general trades, aluminum, glass and glazing, drywall and acoustical, resilient flooring and carpet, painting, fire suppression, plumbing and HVAC, and electrical and technology. This amendment also includes allowances for fireproof patching, furniture, and break room plumbing and sink. GMP Number 7 includes SEBE participation of 25.62%. We appreciate the assistance provided by the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office for both of today's GMP amendments. Pending any questions, we respectfully request your approval of Guaranteed Maximum Price Amendment Number 7.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 34525.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Abstain.
Resolution number 34525 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good one. Next up, we have purchasing.
Resolution number 36825. Resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $7,006,509.28.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tracy Matthew, Assistant Director of Purchasing, and joining me is Andrina Austin, Economic Equity Administrator for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. The first resolution, Commissioners, requests your approval of 83 purchase orders for which the County Auditor has pre-certified available funding. I'll turn it over to Andrina to share the supplier diversity data.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration.
8 of the purchase orders being presented are being awarded to small and emerging businesses to total $177,638.43. These awards are dispersed as follows: 2% to small and emerging businesses and 7 to women-owned businesses. Once approved, 6 agencies will provide equitable and inclusive opportunities to small businesses this week, and these agencies are the Court of Common Pleas, Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court, the Engineer's Office, Public Facilities Management, the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and the Sheriff's Department. Year-to-date, Franklin County Board of Commissioner agencies have awarded 227 purchase orders to small and emerging businesses to total $14,763,235.36. And pending any questions or comments, we are respectfully requesting your approvals today.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 368-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce? Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 368-25 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Resolution number 369-25, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $28,526.43.
Commissioners, this resolution requests your approval of 3 purchase orders. The county auditor has pre-certified available funding, and pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 369-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce? Resolution number 369-25 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention.
Thank you.
Resolution number 347-25, resolutions approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $1,500.
Commissioners, this resolution requests your approval of 2 purchase orders. The county auditor has pre-certified available funding, and pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 347-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce? Resolution number 347-25 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 348-25, resolution authorizing the county administrator to execute lien release agreements and related documents that have been approved to form by the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chris Long, Deputy County Administrator. This resolution would allow County Administrator to execute lien release documents and related instruments after approval to form by the County Prosecutor's Office. The authorization is only in effect during the periods outlined in this resolution. The clerk would be required to journalize quarterly a summary of the actions taken by the County Administrator, and per the discussion and direction last week in general session, this resolution has the language that grants only to the current County Administrator the authority, and the resolution expires on December 31st, 2025, which is consistent with other similar resolutions. Pending any questions, we ask for your approval.
There are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 348-25.
Second. Oh, shit.
Second.
Sorry, shoot.
Moved and seconded,
That's a shoot.
voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 348-25 has been adopted. Resolution number 370-25, resolution authorizing a transfer of funds for the payment of debt service.
Good morning, Commissioners. Zach Tularic with the Office of Management and Budget. This resolution would transfer $6.4 million to the various bond retirement funds, including $6.1 million from the general fund for the county's June 1st debt service payment. The resolution also authorizes the payment of the county's June 1st debt service payment, which totals just over $17 million. Pending any questions, would ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 370-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 370-25 has been adopted. Resolution number 371-25, resolution authorizing an amendment to the funding agreement with the Community Shelter Board to develop and implement strategies that decrease homelessness in Franklin County in the amount of $5 million.
Commissioners, the board, you previously approved Resolution 155-25, authorizing a grant agreement in the amount of $6,079,390 with the Community Shelter Board. Additional funding is now required to close the annual funding gap for emergency shelters that will allow the shelters to continue to operate and have a staffing level that is both safe for both staff and sheltered individuals. Pending any questions, would ask for your approval, and I do know we have a representative from the Community Shelter Board.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. My name is Adam Rowan. I'm the Chief Compliance and Operating Officer at the Community Shelter Board. And on behalf of CSB, thank you for your leadership and continued investment in housing stability across our city and county. At CSB, we lead a coordinated community effort to ensure everyone has a place to call home. Since 1986, we've partnered with local nonprofits to deliver a full continuum of services from homeless prevention to emergency shelter to permanent supportive housing. The funding amendment before you will sustain and expand critical programs including access to and provision of emergency shelter and housing services, permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, homeless prevention, and winter warming response. CSB stewards these resources with strong fiscal oversight, aligning with HUD standards and maximizing impact across Franklin County. Each investment strengthens a system designed to ensure homelessness is rare, brief, and non-reoccurring. We're proud to work alongside you and remain committed to advancing equitable access to safe and stable housing for every resident in Franklin County. Thank you for your continued leadership and support, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Madam President,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. Thanks, Adam, for being here. And I know your leader, Shannon Isom, was here, perhaps had to go to another event. I'm so sorry she couldn't be here. But Adam, I want to say I was 2 weeks ago now, I was in Los Angeles for my son's college graduation. And whenever I'm in Los Angeles, I'm reminded of the stark impact of homelessness, because it's nowhere in our United States is it as challenging and troubling perhaps as it is in Los Angeles, and even on the West Coast. And so you're reminded of just what happens when homelessness takes over a community and those folks are fending for themselves. I know Mayor Bass has done a great job of trying to curb the homelessness, but she's fighting decades and decades and decades of challenges, and so I certainly lift her up in her challenges. That being said, and you know, I know since 1986, the Shelter Board has been, with Mel Schottenstein leading the way, has been a real undergirding of resource for us to coalesce our services and resources together, whether it's city, county, state, whatever, private sector. And that has undergirded our ability to address homelessness best we can, even though it still exists. We do our best. That being said, and I can't think of a better use of resources than support folks from homelessness. But I feel like it's my mic that keeps doing that. I don't know what that is, but every time I just turn it off and it's okay. All right. So, but my question is, you know, around, I mean, this fills a gap currently. But it doesn't speak to what happens when these funds end. And part of me feels like, while I do support this resolution and these resources, part of me feels like we'll be back here in 12 months because we haven't really solved the issue of why the current funding gap exists today. And so I want to ask, what is the game plan to either reduce this gap funding, and I know there's a bigger ask out there of the community, but that's not in place right now. We have to assume until it's in place, we're working with what we're working with now. So if that happens, what's the game plan for the Shelter Board to do the best it can with the resources it has? I mean, are you going to have to cut back services? You're going to have to lay off folks? Are you going to have, what do you see happening? And tell us what happens after this $5 million, these $5 million are exhausted, and then we're back to this point of, because this is a systemic funding gap, as really opposed to just some kind of one-time thing happening that kind of left us hanging. So,
You are correct, Commissioner. There is a need for a long-term solution to funding homeless services and prevention services. A couple times today, there's been reference to a county in transition. And we are also a system in transition to meet that moment. And we have to, and are working actively as a system, to move further into prevention and diversion, keep people in their homes rather than continuing to respond in the same way we have been. The 2025 point in time count showed a 7% increase in overall homelessness in Franklin County, just over 2,500 individuals. And while that is it showed a reduction in unsheltered homelessness, that was due to responding to and providing new and adequate shelter opportunities. So when we look at what does it look like next year and years after, we are currently in our budget cycle with all of our nonprofit providers. And those conversations are happening now to say, if these funds are not supplemented by some new pathway, some new permanent supportive funding source, then how do we as a system bridge from now to then to make sure that, to your point, services are stable, bed counts remain as high as possible, but that we're moving to be more responsive in different ways using the same funds.
Thank you for that response, Adam. Madam President, may I continue? Thank you. And so, I mean, I really want to just rip the Band-Aid off and be very clear with the public, because I often, worry about when we take an action, the underlying decision isn't seen. If we look at the immediate impact on what's happening versus kind of the underlying things. But I want to be clear. If we don't do this, if we don't invest these funds, the immediate impact are essentially cuts.
Correct.
There are cuts across the spectrum of nonprofit providers that fall under shelter board funding. And so you might not just, they could be in mental health services, they could be in rental assistance, et cetera, all of those things. And so I say this because this is a one-time funding allotment for emergency funding, and it doesn't get at our problem. And so if we don't address it, we'll either be right back to this point, we'll have to make those adjustments and cuts, and that means a lot of things, or the other funding source surfaces and comes up, and we can address it for next year.
You are correct.
Just want to be clear. Okay. And then the second question I have is really just maybe around some of the plans that are on the table. I know that there have been a variety of conversations with the private sector. I've heard from them over the last few weeks. And my response has been, and I know my colleagues have no doubt had the same things. My response has been, look, we always try to do the right thing, but there are a variety of competing emergencies. I've said this before, there's not a place you can't go in Central Ohio and not see a crane in the sky or orange barrels on the street. It's everywhere. They're everywhere. And that growth is indicative of even greater needs. We've had to build things to accommodate this growth. And so maybe just talk about that, one, the private sector's engagement and kind of the conversations going on there, and two, this other plan, the public may not be aware of this bigger ask in terms of the bigger gap to address the growth. This addresses the current gap right this second. It doesn't accommodate for the growth that we're experiencing. So could you maybe talk about that planning so the public can feel at least confident that there is a bigger effort going on other than just emergency funding that isn't going to last past a year?
Absolutely. Over the past 2 years, the Community Shelter Board commissioned a community needs assessment using an external firm from California called Focus Strategies. That firm, based on our growth, city structure, and social services systems, has forecast between 25 and 2028 a 68% increase in unsheltered homelessness in the city. That's with a 15% overall increase. And the growth, if we don't meet with new strategies and alternate funding atop of the funding that we're talking about today that keeps our existing system operating, then we will continue to fall further behind the population growth curve and the needs of the community as our county and city grow. And so what we're working with in the private sector and in discussions with public sector partners is how do we not just do better with the resources we have today to be most impactful, most efficient, and create that base safety net that we need, but how do we be responsive and move forward to get ahead of the curve before, to your point about cities that have now fallen well past the curve and counties that have fallen well past the curve, to get ahead of it before it's harder to get back in front of.
Thank you, Madam President. If I conclude by saying simply that, and this is one component of the growth challenge that we're facing today, whether it's inflation, economic contractions. Central Ohio is, these are unprecedented times for us because we've got some tough decisions to make around planning and deploying resources, being strategic about the outlay. And our private sector partners are going to be critical in helping us resolve these issues. On the funding gap issue as we grow, I think this is serious because it's happening in other sectors of our economy and of our community, and there are limited resources. I wish we did have a money printing machine in the basement of 373 South High Street, but we don't. The money that we have is from the hardworking residents of Central Ohio who go out and purchase things and live their lives, and a part of that spending, the sales tax, and that comes back to the county, and our job is to deploy it in the strategic way that we just talked about. And it's not a day goes by that there's not tough decisions for us to make. It's not a day goes by. And so, again, I'm planting the seed because I think we have tougher conversations ahead of us. To the public, I want you to know that we are thinking about the rising cost of living in Central Ohio, whether it's the cost of housing, cost of food, cost of energy, you name it, we're being thoughtful about it. I've asked, this board has asked the county administrator to look at a cost of living study and for us to think deeply about all of the things that impact our residents every day, whether it's a levy that pays for services for our children's services, or I see Chip Spinning back there, or it's for resources that we deploy in alcohol, drug, and addiction services. All of these are things that we've got to be thoughtful about. As we grow, the need also grows. And I can assure you that this is something that this board takes extremely seriously. And we have a lot of conversation about it. Maybe not even always agree, but we do agree on one thing, and that's doing what we think is best for Central Ohio. And so, again, while this is a one-time kind of a relief, and there's a bigger fight ahead of us for us to address, and we're doing our best we can to take the information, utilize the resources we have, and deploy them in the most strategic and effective way for all of our residents. So that's all I have to say.
Madam President, if I might, I appreciate my colleagues' comments and questions. If I could, I guess where I would want to, maybe expound on it a little bit is to just say this is extraordinarily complex situation. Not only, mostly in regard to the fact that there's multiple partners, multiple, we have the city of Columbus, Franklin County, the business community. But we have the Community Shelter Board, we have other shelter systems. We have, and we have a time frame issue. We have, and there have been over the years multiple approaches. We are moving from one approach to another, from shelter to rehousing. We are, and so there's a complex situation here. Commissioner Boyce brings up the fact that, this is a one-time, almost a Band-Aid type approach to the need for a permanent solution. We are all desperately seeking the permanent solution. And the permanent solution is a very expensive solution, admittedly, but we want to move in that direction. The permanent solution is also going to take a permanent funding stream, and so figuring out how to do that has really taxed us in terms of how we go about doing that, how we make sure that we commit those dollars, and then how we partner with the city and the county and the private sector, and how we make sure that we are able to rely on each other, which we do very well in this community. But it's a negotiation. It's a long-term commitment, and so while Commissioner Boyce brings all of these issues up, I just wanted to, I guess, maybe see if I could, chime in and then maybe in a little bit more succinct way, let you know that this is something that we've all been discussing, not necessarily because we're not allowed, not necessarily, together, but we've all been discussing this. I've had multiple conversations with each of my colleagues. I've had multiple conversations with Administrator Wilson. I've had conversations with the deputy county administrators. This is something that we've all been talking about. I've spoken with your boss. I've spoken with representatives of yours and your boss, and so we're all talking about this. I've had conversations with some friends at City Hall, and so we're working on it.
It's appreciated.
And to those in the audience and in the public, this is probably issue number one right now. And to Commissioner Boyce's point, there are other things that are on the back burner, and we have let people know that there are other projects that are very, very important to this community that are on the back burner because this is issue number one. This is the most important issue that we are dealing with, and it's important. I was in Washington week and a half ago, talking about homelessness with colleagues from across the country. And Franklin County is looked at as one of the leaders. And people know that we are dealing with this issue. So, anyway.
President Crowley.
Yeah, I would just add real quick, and then Administrator Wilson, if you want to provide comments, that would be great. To both of my colleagues' point, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not talking about housing and or homelessness. Happens every day. At one point in time, I would say to DCA Long, I would talk about parking a lot more than I expected to as a commissioner, but it definitely is.
You're welcome,
housing.
Commissioner.
Yeah, so it's housing, homelessness, and parking. But we can't talk about transportation if we're not talking about homelessness. We can't talk about childcare. Like, we can't talk about all of the other social determinants of health if we're not talking about housing and homelessness. And I'm glad you mentioned the assessment that CSB went through. CSB went through that assessment because the commissioners asked for that, and administration asked for that, because we have a system that's been in place almost 30 years, and the way that we've been funding it, we want to make sure, one, is this the way that we've been funding it still relevant for this time that we're in, and more importantly, if so, then validating the funding streams and the mechanism in which we fund homelessness. But it did uncover a greater need, how we get to permanent supportive housing, and then not just rapid rehousing, but how we support the system and a growing county. And that's how we got to this bigger ask and as we look at a dedicated funding stream or new funding or new revenue to go to housing and homelessness, as we look at that, whether it's government, to Commissioner Boyce's point, there has to be the private sector has to be there. And I can say, I feel like they have not really paid, I hate to say their fair share, but contributed in a way that's been significant to address this issue. And as we look at a dedicated funding stream, they have to be at the table just like public dollars are. There's no way that they get off the hook or can underfund this. You know, when we think about how our economy can be impacted or businesses can be impacted, they will be impacted if we have more street homelessness, right? And homelessness doesn't always look like that. I had 2 constituents this weekend working with Ariana in my office in Franklin County Public Health through our housing pilot program, which I know you all are in conversations with Franklin County Public Health and that pilot. But 2 women, 2 separate instances where one was living in her car and was going to a motel, another woman already in a motel for the weekend with 6 kids and pregnant with her 7th, right? And today is the last day, or yesterday was the last day that her hotel was being paid for and then had nowhere to go. That is what unhoused also looks like. And if she has nowhere to go after leaving the hotel, then where would she go, right? Our system is already stretched to the brink. Our shelters are already at capacity. And then that's how we see street homelessness. And we know that we have those who are unhoused that are dealing with mental illness. So as we started the day talking about mental illness, we're going to end talking about mental illness as well as housing, because we know that we have people who have co-occurring diagnosis, whether it's substance use, as well as a mental illness, and then add a layer of being unhoused on top of that. That doesn't do anything but exacerbate situations and drive people into unfavorable circumstances or making decisions that impact their livelihood or their life in general. And so, you know, these are complex problems that will take complex solutions, and there's no one answer to address this, but it will take all of us, public and private, together trying to solve this issue before we do become, we can name a number of cities that didn't get it right, so we can learn from those cities and do our best to address this and get ahead of it before it becomes a problem. So, you know, I am supportive of this resolution, but also, as I said to Ms. Isom, would love to meet on a quarterly basis to talk about that long-term funding solution, but also how these dollars today that, you know, once approved, if approved, will, how those will be spent, and then what are the outcomes that we see coming from that.
Absolutely.
And I would love to continue that conversation. Thank you. Administrator Wilson.
Thank you, President Crowley, Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Boyce. I know the morning has been long, but I want to point out we were talking about temporary. This emergency allocation, if approved, this will support the floor of the system, as I see it, until July of 26. Is that correct?
Yes, our new fiscal year, yeah.
You know, this is a very complex issue. There has been dedicated resources that the county has approved in 2006. The first dollar of the conveyance fee was approved for this specific purpose. And then again, in 2019, the board faced the same situation. Again, came forward with another additional dollar of the conveyance fee. So now we're currently, $1 is mandated by the state of Ohio, so we're currently at $3 per every $1,000 on each real estate transfer that's levied in this county. And during the whole time, we've been battling this issue, even with real estate market increases. This dedicated funding source has not been enough. So now we're looking for another dedicated funding source from the community to meet the need. And as Commissioner O'Grady pointed out, now we have relatively new leadership we're working with. We got to give the CEO some opportunity to work through this. We have the focused strategy study. We're moving away from a heavily focused congregate housing based system to one that is looking at more innovative solutions, permanent supportive housing, readaptive uses of housing that makes it less to produce units. So we do have to continue to look for innovative solutions. And if the board approves this, what I'm hoping that they will, this gives us 12 months, and we can't just rest. We must all come together, and the community can't just be, it's just not Franklin County. We understand our obligation, but it takes the private sector, it takes all of our other municipalities and partners to come together to do what's right as it relates to this matter. Thank you for your privilege of speaking, President Crowley.
All right, if there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 371-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 37125 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any journalizations?
We have two today. Case number ANX-14-25, an expedited type 2 annexation petition, ANX-14-25 was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on May 7th, 2025. The petition is requesting to annex 14.07 acres, more or less, from Jackson Township to the city of Columbus. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on June 17th, 2025. The sites are 2380 and 2410 Demarest Road, PID number 160-002870 and 160-002858. Case number ANX-15-25, an expedited type 2 annexation petition, ANX-15-25 was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on May 9th, 2025. The petition is requesting to annex 24.4 acres from Prairie Township to the city of Columbus. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on June 17th, 2025. The site is Old Hall Road, PID number 240-000036.
Thank you.
And the final resolution, Madam President?
Oh, that was just one? Oh, sorry.
No, that was two. You were right.
Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 37225. Resolution of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners to convene into executive session to confer with the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office concerning pending or imminent litigation.
All right, move to convene into executive session to confer with the Franklin County Prosecutor Office concerning pending or imminent litigation.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 37225 has been adopted to convene executive session.